Good evening. Look deep into the dense boreal forests or high mountain ranges of Eurasia, and you may glimpse them. The silent walker, the powerful forager, the often mythologized brown bear. Tonight, we are dedicating 30 minutes to the full, comprehensive history of this magnificent apex predator, the Eurasian brown bear, Ursus arctos, arctos. This creature is not just a master of its ecological domain. It is a creature that has been a god, a cultural emblem, an engineering marvel of biology, and a living symbol of Europe's wild heart for millennia. We will trace its journey from the primeval forests of the Old World to its contemporary status as an icon of resilience and survival, detailing the facts, the fascinating physiology, and the enduring scientific conjectures that surround this massive, elusive carnivore. The wild ancestral brown bear, Ursus arctos, is a creature of immense adaptability. Its lineage spans back over 3.5 million years, making it one of the most successful large mammal species on Earth. The Eurasian brown bear subspecies, Ursus arctos arctos, possesses the widest range of any brown bear, stretching historically from the Atlantic coast of Europe eastward across Siberia to the Pacific. They chose dense forests, high alpine meadows, and remote mountainous zones, because these provided necessary isolation, abundant foraging grounds, and deep, secure dens safe from human persecution. This preference for inaccessible wilderness is the key to understanding its modern status. The bear we see today is a fragmented population, often existing in small, isolated metapopulations. These animals exhibit behavioral plasticity. They have adapted to survive intense human pressure, learning to be largely nocturnal and avoid settlements. They simply recognize that our vast undeveloped forests and national parks are now their last, best sanctuary. A high-altitude spruce forest offers the same seclusion and protection as the ancient, unbroken taiga. Their fidelity to these secluded ranges minimizes conflict risk and allows them to perform essential biological functions, mimicking the safety of their ancestral homes. The brown bear species originally comprised numerous geographical and genetic populations, each adapted to its specific regional climate, morphology, and diet. For instance, the Kodiak bear, Ursus arctos middendorfi, is geographically isolated and exceptionally large, maximizing fat storage to survive harsh coastal Alaskan winters. The now extinct Atlas bear, Ursus arctos crowtheri, of North Africa was smaller and had much shorter claws, reflecting its adaptation to a more arid, less dig-intensive environment. Due to localized extinction, habitat fragmentation, and a relentless pressure of persecution, true, genetically interconnected populations are now considered vulnerable in much of their original European range. They persist mainly in the contiguous mountain ranges of the Carpathians, the Balkans, and Scandinavia. Conservation efforts are now focused on establishing corridors to link these last genetic reservoirs, which hold the original, magnificent template of the brown bear. The bear is primarily an omnivore, a master of opportunistic consumption. However, its diet is highly plastic, allowing it to exploit seasonal abundance, from protein-rich salmon runs in the north to carbohydrate-rich berries and roots in the south. This adaptability is amplified by its massive strength and specialized anatomy. The distinctive shoulder hump is a dense mass of muscle and fat, providing the tremendous power needed for digging deep for roots, insects, and hibernating prey, and for sustained physical activity. Its capacity to utilize virtually every available resource, plants, fish, mammals, and carrion, is another advantage, allowing it to sustain the incredible body mass required for hibernation with minimal effort when resources are plentiful. This efficient use of seasonal pulses is what sustains the large territories we observe in bear populations. They are simply perfectly engineered to utilize the ecological niche created by seasonal variation. The history of the brown bear in Europe, dating back to the arrival of modern humans, is central to cultural anthropology and reverse selection. Early humans in the Neolithic period were struggling to survive and establish agrarian settlements. They needed to eliminate competition and threats. The bear became an undeniable, living example of power that needed to be either worshipped or eradicated. Its comprehensive slaughter began thousands of years ago, and throughout the Middle Ages, expert hunters, whom we can call the first conservation antagonists, used meticulous, generational selective processes to eliminate the largest, boldest, and most genetically dominant individuals. He was forced to retreat from the plains to the mountains. In the very structure of European folklore and heraldry, the bear dedicates significant space, yet this reverence coexisted with systematic elimination. The bear's decline introduces the concept of reverse selection. We argue that if human action, acting with conscious persecution and intention over just a few centuries, could produce such staggering decline in population density, range, and average size, then the selective pressure of human intolerance, acting relentlessly over time, was infinitely powerful and destructive. The sheer size difference between the European bear and the North American grizzly is, in part, evidence of this. Let us examine three main categories of biological function that are unique to this magnificent species. Size adaptation. The bear is bred by nature with massive, non-retractable claws, maximizing its grip and digging power, traits which sacrifice the stealth of a feline predator for massive force. The grizzly bear of North America is often larger and more aggressive, reflecting a history of less intense human persecution and a reliance on large prey. The Eurasian brown bear, historically persecuted, tends to be warier, smaller, and relies more heavily on plant matter, a behavioral adaptation for survival. This selection for prudence and omnivory demonstrates a complete override of natural selection's preference for specialized carnivorous efficiency, sensory dominance. The bear's eyesight is adequate, but its sense of smell is its primary sensory world. Its nasal turbinates are immensely complex, giving it a sense of smell, estimated to be 2,100 times more acute than a human's. This is not just a heightened sense, it is a primary navigation and social tool. The ability to detect distant food, potential mates, or approaching rivals over vast distances is a non-survival trait, but a necessity for surviving its solitary life. Reproduction behavior. The bear's life is defined by its solitary nature, driven to maximize resource utilization across a wide territory, minimizing exposure and contact. Mating is brief and promiscuous, but its most remarkable feature is the genetic mechanism of delayed implantation, a trait purely for biological synchronization. This system ensures the energetically expensive pregnancy and cub birth only occurs when the female is safely denned for the winter. The bear's most convincing evidence of its biological genius lies in its reproductive cycle. Mating occurs in late spring or early summer, But the fertilized egg, blastocyst, does not implant in the uterine wall immediately. It floats freely, dormant, until late autumn, a state of developmental arrest known as delayed implantation. This proves that the timing of gestation is not set at conception. It is instead triggered by the female's body condition, specifically her accumulated body fat levels, and the seasonal drop in daylight hours. The underlying genetic and hormonal mechanism is not fully understood, but its purpose is clear: to ensure the cubs are born safely in the den during the deepest part of hibernation. The key to their survival is the annual cycle of hyperphagia and hibernation, a physiological process that has no true parallel in the mammalian world. It is induced by a complex hormonal shift that governs the bear's ability to completely restructure its metabolism for months on end. Before entering the den, the bear enters a state of hyperphagia, consuming immense amounts of high-calorie food, up to 20,000 calories per day, to build a massive layer of fat, ensuring a critical energy reserve. The resulting hibernation is not true deep mammalian sleep, but a state of winter dormancy, a complex reduction of all physiological processes. The bear's body temperature only drops slightly, from 37 degrees C to around 32 degrees C, but its heart rate drops dramatically, from 40-50 beats per minute to as low as 10-24. It does not eat, drink, defecate, or urinate for the entire duration, sometimes 6 months or more. This biological preparation ensures the mother is ready to give birth and nurse tiny cubs while essentially asleep. The production of this sustained dormancy requires a dramatic biological shift known as urea recycling. Normally, urea, a waste product of protein metabolism, would be toxic if not flushed out by urination. But the hibernating bear's body reabsorbs the urea, converting the nitrogen atoms back into usable amino acids to maintain muscle mass. This prevents the bear from suffering the muscle atrophy and bone density loss that all other mammals, including humans, would experience during such a long period of inactivity. This ingenious self-sustaining process ensures the bear emerges in spring fully functional, ready to move and forage immediately. The process is carefully controlled. Cubs are born typically in January or February, tiny and helpless, each weighing less than a pound. The mother nurses them entirely on her stored body fat, while her metabolism remains suppressed. The young rely entirely on the mother for the first 1.5 to 2.5 years, learning critical skills like fishing, foraging roots, and avoidance of dominant males. This finely tuned maternal transition, from deep dormancy to active nursing, is what allows brown bears to successfully rear young in such varied and often nutritionally lean mountain environments. The inherent territoriality and spatial knowledge of Ursus arctos was respected by indigenous cultures across Eurasia for millennia. They were the primary subject of hunting rituals and shamanic ceremonies. Early examples include cave paintings depicting the bear as a revered animal, the use of bear claws and pelts in tribal leadership, and the integration of the bear into Norse mythology as the ancestor of all kings. The use of the bear as a symbol of regional strength became formalized, appearing on the heraldic crests and coats of arms of numerous European cities and royal houses. The history of conflict exploded in Europe with the rise of widespread livestock farming, where the bear became an economic threat to property and life. Modern bear monitoring, or bear fancying, is a highly technical, multi-million-dollar international industry. Champion bears, possessing a potent blend of genetics, rigorous territoriality, and successful foraging skills, are treated as elite subjects of conservation and study. The economic value of a single bear in ecotourism can be extraordinary, demonstrating the financial value placed on this species' survival. Its existence fuels local economies. Bear survival relies heavily on complex spatial conditioning and a specific method called spatial memory mapping. This strategy requires the bear to remember the location and timing of seasonal food sources, e.g., when a specific patch of berries ripens, or when a specific river is running with salmon. This creates an intense, powerful motivation to patrol vast territories, ensuring access to resources. The bear knows that the rewards of surviving the winter are directly tied to the success of its current foraging efforts. This drive, the most fundamental biological urge, is weaponized by its memory, fueling its movements across hundreds of miles. The competitive, high-stakes nature of modern ecology has mandated the integration of advanced technologies. Modern bears are tracked using satellite-linked GPS collars, ensuring accuracy to meters. Furthermore, the species must contend with habitat fragmentation. There is increasing evidence that roads, pipelines, and human settlements disrupt ancient migration and foraging routes, leading to conflicts and limiting genetic flow, mirroring the challenges faced by human land management. Organizations like the UN are now attempting to implement strict conservation measures, using genetic and spatial data to maintain the integrity of the population and the health of the bears. During times of deep winter, the bear retreats to its den. This den is often a microclimatic marvel, a small hidden cave, root tangle, or cavity used to escape the most intense cold. The deep dormancy serves to conserve energy when no food is available. This practice, known as wintering, cemented the bear's role as the single most powerful symbol of resurrection and cyclical time, as it seemingly dies and is reborn in the spring. The bear's sensory system is an astonishing, layered blend of internal knowledge and learned skills, often referred to as a smell and memory system. This system is not a single sense but a highly redundant backup network. The compass direction uses the sun's position, requiring a precise internal clock, and landmarks, peaks, rivers. This sensory data tells the bear the Salmon River is this way. The map location. This is the system that tells the bear the den is 10 miles northeast of here. The leading conjecture for this map remains the olfactory spatial hypothesis, where the bear uses scent markers and wind currents to locate its position. The olfactory landscape is not fully understood, but two primary mechanisms are theorized: the sheer size and complexity of the nasal structures, and the behavior of scent marking, rubbing against trees, leaving scent on paws. This theory suggests that the bear can literally map its environment based on its own markers and the markers of other bears, which explains why they often navigate better through dense forest cover. Experiments, often conducted in controlled environments, have provided overwhelming evidence for the olfactory map. Bears are released far from their home territory. Those deprived of their olfactory information fly randomly or in circles upon release, proving that smell is the fundamental pillar of the map sense that tells them, "I am here," and food safety is that way. Bears essentially build a scent landscape, associating the direction of the wind with the specific concentration of unique, volatile organic compounds, like the scent of a rival male, a specific berry patch, or a kill site, to create a functional grid system for survival. Beyond navigation, bears have demonstrated cognitive abilities previously thought exclusive to higher primates. The classic test involves problem-solving to access protected food. Researchers have successfully demonstrated that bears can learn and execute sequential tasks, use tools, such as using a rock to rub an itch, and understand basic mechanics, how to undo a latch or pull a wire. This suggests a capacity for causal understanding and forward planning, a major finding that fundamentally changed how we view carnivore intelligence. Bears exhibit advanced time-place learning, demonstrating they remember where food will be when, e.g., they know the raspberry patch is ripe at location A in August, but the nuts are available at location B in October. Most remarkably, they can learn and apply spatial memory over immense distances, remembering the precise location of caches and seasonal pathways for decades, confirming a level of navigational memory that contradicts historical stereotypes. They are capable of categorization, distinguishing between types of food sources, and even rudimentary resource management, all skills that suggest a highly sophisticated cognitive system. The large contiguous territory is a strategy for survival, known as the territorial imperative. While a large territory attracts attention from rivals, it also ensures a secure, diverse resource space. A female bear with cubs is far less likely to lose a cub to starvation when her domain provides reliable access to varied food. The individual bear's best survival strategy is to constantly patrol and mark its territory to remain in the safer, less exposed interior of its range. Studies show that bears that establish and maintain large ranges are statistically much more likely to be successful breeders. Within the family unit, there is a clear dominance hierarchy, established through sparring, scent marking, and avoidance. Dominant bears gain priority access to the best foraging spots, ensuring the most fit individuals gain energy and are better able to reproduce. Bears also display impressive risk management. They rapidly learn to associate specific human-related visual and auditory cues, e.g., the sound of a chainsaw, the sight of a vehicle, with danger, demonstrating complex pattern recognition for avoiding conflict in a dynamic, human-dominated environment. The iconic, often patient one-standing posture is not just a quirky habit. It's a profound sensory processing necessity. The bear performs a sniff-and-see motion. The head remains high and stable, while the bear utilizes its height to catch distant wind currents, allowing the bear to capture a clear, stable sense of its environment. It uses its forelimbs for stability, then drops to all fours to thrust forward or retreat. This intermittent verticality is a necessity because it allows the bear to maximize the use of its olfactory system above ground clutter. The deep guttural roar is the primary form of non-visual communication. The male's massive challenge roar is used to warn off rivals and establish territory. The loud huffing or chuffing is a display of caution or anxiety, often used when feeling threatened or surprised. Beyond vocalizations, they use subtle communication cues. The scent rubbing of their fur against tree bark creates a specific, loud, visual and olfactory marker, which is used as a territorial claim to alert the rest of the species to the presence of a dominant animal. The recent proliferation of human settlements and infrastructure has triggered a behavioral shift in bears. They are observed using more remote, densely forested corridors, demonstrating complex, near-instantaneous coordination to evade conflict. The sheer discretion and agility of these movements, the result of millennia of dealing with the ultimate predator, humanity, is a testament to their deep evolutionary programming. The legacy of the bear in human culture remains one of the most heroic and complex chapters of the Ursus arctos story. Many were and are revered as symbols of strength and ferocity. The bear was essential to the cultural identity of ancient Norse, Celtic, and Germanic tribes. Following the industrial destruction of the 19th and 20th centuries, the bear's image was heavily politicized. National parks across Europe chose the bear as their emblem for conservation, solidifying the animal's status as the global symbol of protected wilderness and the hope of rewilding. The negative modern epithet narrator is a product of isolated historical conflicts and fear, not a factual reflection of the bear's danger. The risk of aggression is largely based on the surprise encounter with a bear defending a carcass or cubs. The main human risks, rare, defensive attacks, are overwhelmingly contracted only by individuals who encroach into the bear's immediate, critical space or surprise the animal at a food source. Casual avoidance of known bear areas presents negligible risk to the general public. The fear is a social conjecture that far outweighs the scientific fact. The bear is far more likely to suffer from human poaching, traffic, and habitat destruction than it is to cause us harm. The term pest largely arose as agrarian society struggled with resource protection. The bear, a highly visible competitor for livestock and game, became an easy target to blame for broader economic issues that were actually caused by poor husbandry and uncontrolled human expansion. The perception endures, but the science does not support its exclusion from our wild ecosystem. We have covered the full panorama of the brown bear's life, from the fundamental physics of its strength and multi-layered sensory system to its critical role in the history of biology and human mythology. It is a creature of ancient power, biological genius, and profound resilience. This is an animal that deserves our respect, not our dismissal. It is a living, breathing testament to the power of adaptation, the persistence of life, and the enduring connection between humans and the natural world. The next time you see a bear or its tracks, remember the navigator, the sleeping wonder, and the living legend, a constant companion on Eurasia's wild journey. Thank you.